What's up guys, it's me Deshaun, and today we'll be ranking every single S-Class hero One Punch Man. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and check out the Patreon and a pinned comment down below to support more videos. And with that, let's dive right in. Now starting this list off is kinda my least favorite hero. Honestly, I haven't met a single person that actually likes Pretty Prisoner. Definitely has my least favorite design, and undoubtedly he is the weakest of the S-Class heroes, and he even admits this. And this would be after his power boost from fighting the Sea King, where he gets his new fighting style, Vibration Angel Descended, where if he absorbs enough damage, his body will then vibrate, and those same vibrations would destroy anything that they touch. So debatably, he could be much stronger than what he originally thought. But personally, I still think he is the weakest. If we take him fighting the Sea King, for an example, a demon level threat, he got completely washed by him. During the Monster Association arc, where he fights another demon level threat monster and absolutely washes it with this brand new technique. But unfortunately, later on in this chapter, he cannot stand a chance against a dragon level threat like Neon, only surviving this attack because of his angel bristly armor. Other heroes do struggle against dragon level threats on this list, but to me at the very least, I feel like Pretty Prisoner would struggle the most. He has admirable super strength, but other characters on this list simply eclipse him in that. Now up next we have Pig God. Unlike the previous S-rank hero on this list, he was actually able to fight a dragon level threat monster for an extended period of time. What made Pig God's placement kinda hard to determine is the fact that he has insane defensive capabilities. But as for his offensive, it's hard to gauge how strong it would be because he simply eats his opponents. How do you gauge how strong that is? He's just eating somebody and digesting them. Now it does seem as though at the bare minimum he would have superhuman strength, since he was strong enough to tussle with Gums, a dragon level threat. And we don't know the full extent of their powers. We do know is that one hit from Fur Ugly would absolutely decimate Gums, and between Gums and Pig God, I do think Gums is stronger than him by a decent margin. Above Pig God, we have Tank Top Master. Just like Pig God, Tank Top Master was able to resist Gums, resisting Gums to a point in which he had to strain himself and still did not crush Tank Top. But what makes Tank Top Master so much better than Pig God is the fact that his super strength gives him a massive advantage in comparison to Pig God. He's so strong he can casually throw Pig God like nothing, and also throw objects that are much larger than him. A notable one would be Tank Top throwing an electrical tower towards the direction of Psychos with absolute ease. But even outside of strength and durability, his combat skills were strong enough for him to clash against Garo. And if we were to take the same Garo, despite being weak to all the other Garos in the series, as his power progresses, I still think that same Garo would absolutely demolish Pretty Prisoner or Pig God. So Tank Top, in terms of strength, durability, and skills, ranks higher than the both of them. Now up next, I've decided to put Zombie Man. Zombie Man's biggest strength is the fact that he can regenerate, and through this monstrous regeneration, he is practically unkillable. Alongside that, he has pretty decent strength and speed, but unfortunately his strength and speed is a lot less impressive compared to the last three that I mentioned. In fact, you could honestly debate that Zombie Man could actually be the weakest of the S-Class heroes, but in terms of his combat ability and skills, I think this current spot is perfect for him. Zombie Man is practically John Wick, but he does not die. He has a wide array of weaponry from guns, swords, axes, and so on and so forth. And if you want to actually determine how strong Zombie Man would be, I feel like it would more or less be matchup based. And compared to the previous guys on the list that I mentioned before, I feel like Zombie Man wins these matchups. Not only is his skill in a different league, but he uses weaponry that I feel like could easily damage or whittle away at the previous S-Class heroes that I mentioned over time. And above all else, I don't think the previous S-Class heroes have any way to actually kill Zombie Man, because in order to kill him to a point in which he can no longer regenerate, it would take a lot more than brute force and blunt trauma to get the job done. The only thing that has me skeptical is the fact that Zombie Man straight up admitted that he's not good at fighting, and he's more into espionage, intelligence, and investigated contaminated areas. But despite this, we've seen him fight multiple armies of monsters, and some of them actually had freakishly huge sizes and strength to go along with it. But again, like I said, his firepower. If you were to look at his fight against Pureblood, this blast from his twin pistols, absolutely disgusting. And I don't see your stereotypical superhuman surviving this. Surviving it over time, of course. Now up next, I decided to put my favorite S-Class hero, Drive Knight. Now as much as I love Drive Knight, he's pretty epic and he just kicks ass. But as much as I hate to say this because I personally wanted him to be higher, he's kinda weak because for the most part, he's a very tactical fighter. He likes to gather information before he jumps in on some Batman energy. The best parts about him would be his firepower and flexibility due to the many weapons that he can create in other forms that he has. But regardless of all these options that he has in combat, I feel like if you're strong enough, it would not matter. And this would be why he would take a tactical approach when it comes to defeating his enemies. And his gold battle transformation does have one of the more impressive feats when it comes to the characters on this list. And then you take into account that his equipment can be depleted of energy. And then you take into account if he were to fight Neon honestly, he never would have landed a death blow on a dragon level threat monster. I don't know. I don't think he should be higher than this. He has the right equipment to defeat everyone below him, but everyone above, not so much. And if he were to debatably beat anybody above him on this list, he would do so through dishonest means. So maybe he could potentially be higher. I guess we're gonna make Drive Knight with prep time a new thing.
Drive Knight with prep time can beat Darkshine.
Now above Drive Knight, I have Child Emperor, and it's kinda simple as to why I put him above Drive Knight. He's kinda just Drive Knight, but he doesn't need prep time. If he had prep time, he's definitely winning. But more or less, on the fly, Child Emperor could probably counter you. But not only this, his equipment is much better than Drive Knight's. He has plenty of items, but he can also run out just like Drive Knight. But among those items, the most notable ones would be his faithful servants, the Underdog Men. When they all combine, they also turn into the Mad Underdog Cerberus. But to skip all the other trivial equipment such as missiles, force fields, yada yada yada, let's skip to the reason why he's so high. And that would be his ultimate weapon, the Brave Giant. A giant mech suit that he can operate for 2 minutes and 30 seconds, but good luck surviving under that time period. Because his 20,000-fold jump rope grinder is the ultimate offensive and defensive attack, eating away at all types of metals, cutting through the Monster Association base, and was able to take on Phoenix Man, one of the strongest cadres, easily stronger than Neon. And honestly, I don't see anybody underneath Child Emperor taking on the big giant, let alone survive an attack like the Gigavolt Smash. Up next, I know this might be a bit of a weird placement, but I decided to put Metal Bat in front of Child Emperor. I mainly did this because Metal Bat can keep up with Garo. And for the most part, Garo is slapping a lot of the S-Class heroes, no questions asked. Now when it comes to Metal Bat fighting Child Emperor, obviously he was able to keep up with Garo. But not just any Garo, a powered up one as well. And to be honest, I don't care whether or not he was getting pumped up by Garo, because regardless, I still think he's a beast for that. Even though he's not as strong as Garo, the fact that he was able to match him in speed, technique, and also has decent power, despite it not exactly matching Garo's, I think that puts him above Child Emperor. There are two things that would really make this a win for Metal Bat for me. One, he could also just defeat Child Emperor before he activates the Brave Giant. Everyone below Child Emperor, I don't think they would be able to do that. But Metal Bat, I think he could. And also, if he were to activate Brave Giant, Metal Bat could just run away, get pumped up, and then destroy it. And eventually beat Child Emperor. So in terms of speed, I feel like that would be the main factor as to why Metal Bat would win. Up next, now I know this might be a very divisive pick, but I decided to use Watchdog Man despite there being little to no information based on him. The fact that he literally watches City Q all by himself and was destroying all of the monsters single-handedly without breaking a sweat speaks volumes to me. And if we were to compare this performance, this giant mountain of monsters that he took out, and put it up against the others on this list underneath him and what they've done when they were watching their own individual cities, for example, Child Emperor and City Y, it took both Pig God and Child Emperor to fight a demon level threat monster. But if we were to look at Watchdog Man, he fought monsters that were bigger, and I don't want to jump the gun and say more powerful, but he defeated a horde of these monsters all by himself without even breaking a sweat. But not only this, Garo could simply not defeat him. Garo could not defeat Watchdog Man. Watchdog Man's fighting style is so unorthodox and strong. Garo would only describe him as fighting inhuman, fighting as a monster, and this would further become the blueprint for Garo to ultimately become a monster and develop his own monster style as well. Watchdog Man was literally the building block for Garo. Let that sink in. And above Watchdog Man, I decided to use Super Alloy Darkshine. To me personally, no other character below him on this list might not even be able to damage him, and if they were to damage him, it would have been because they had prep time. Darkshine's defense is probably the best out of the S-class heroes if we're not including certain special scenarios. If we're talking about straight up defense from his body, definitely the highest out of anybody. And out of every single S-class hero that Garo has fought, Darkshine easily gave him the most challenge. At this point in the story, Garo is much stronger than he previously was because with his bloody hair form, he becomes more and more monster-like. But not only this, Super Alloy is so strong in hand-to-hand combat that he would reign alongside Silver Fang over the entire hero world in terms of his offensive abilities. No one could even face him when he's at his 100%, and was so strong, numbers could not measure his strength. So when it comes to hand-to-hand combat and everyone else that is below him, he definitely washed them. Up next, I decided to use the hero Metal Knight, or in this case, Dr. Beaufoy. So when it comes to Metal Knight, unfortunately, we haven't seen much of him being in action. And funny thing is, he could probably be even higher on the list than where he currently is, because similar to Drive Knight, he most likely has information on other heroes that are inside of the Hero Association. But outside of that, Child Emperor has mentioned before that Dr. Beaufoy / Metal Knight possesses firepower unlike any other hero. He might not have defensive abilities on the same tier as Darkshine, but it's kind of clear that he has the highest amount of firepower and resources at his disposal in a fight. From his own personal robot to his army to the amount of information that he has or would have on heroes to counter them, alongside his genius level intellect that can help him cook up on-spot plans to counter his opponent, he could definitely be higher on this list. Like, no joke about that. In fact, Phoenix Man told us that he would be one of the only 4 heroes that could stand a chance against Sentichoro. The fact that he would even be named alongside Terrible Tornado, King, and or Blast would say enough in itself. The only reason why I don't have him higher is the fact that we don't necessarily have any clear-cut examples of what he is truly capable of. And the other characters on this list that are above him are debatable, at the very least when it comes to whether or not they could defeat Metal Knight in a fight. Now up next, I decided to use Atomic Samurai, but not just any version of Atomic Samurai. It would be him wielding the Nichiren, a sword so powerful he was able to destroy one of Homeless Emperor's giant laser blasts and damage Golden S. I decided to put Atomic Samurai above Metal Knight because I feel like if push came to shove, despite Atomic Samurai having very low stamina when it comes to wielding this sword, I feel like he would cut down most of his robots in seconds. Ordinarily, I don't even think he would have to use the Nichiren because regularly in his base form, I feel like he would be able to slice down Metal Knight's robots without even trying. Similar to how he'd fight any other monster. Even while fighting an army of sperms with immense strength, if Black S could not regenerate, Atomic Samurai would have defeated him. This shows us that even when it comes to fighting multiple opponents, army-sized, and with each and every one of them holding immense power, he would still be able to cut them down with ease and handle large amounts of opponents. Then you add this sword on top. There's absolutely no doubt in my mind that Atomic Samurai would be able to cut down Metal Knight's forces even within the time frame in which he'd be able to use the Nichiren. Again, keep in mind Metal Knight is lower because we don't have any concrete information that I think would put him above. He might have more firepower, but we don't know how that firepower operates. It could be a bomb, it could be the entire army that he has, it could be whatever, we just don't know. But yeah, up next I decided to put Bang above Atomic Samurai. Both Bang and Atomic Samurai are rivals, but the reason why I put Bang above Samurai because he was able to fight a monster Garo that at this point has mastered multiple martial arts just by looking at them, and even mastered the Awakening Breath, a technique that draws out the body's maximum potential. And he mastered that too. Silver Fang was fighting Garo while he was using this technique. And if you ask me to put it simply, I think Garo would absolutely destroy Metal Knight's army and forces, and Atomic Samurai would not stand a chance. And this is not including the fact that Bang could use his special technique, Fist of the Exploding Heart Liberation, a forbidden art that he used to use when he was in his prime. And this technique is so strong he could kill Garo with it. Me personally, I just feel like that says enough in itself. Now above him, funny enough, would be Genos with his upgrades before the Monster Association. Now Genos isn't necessarily on here for power or speed. Speed very impressive, but it's mainly due to his firepower in his Last Resort mode. You see, Genos' Last Resort mode is extremely broken. I'd say it would even put him on a level higher than those above him on this list. But unfortunately, he can only use that Last Resort for 10 seconds. And with it, he becomes so strong that he can fight one of the strongest villains in the series, Psychos Orochi, the fusion between Orochi and Psychos. One of the strongest monsters in the series and one of the strongest espers. And with this, he was able to deflect multiple attacks from Psychos Orochi, but unfortunately, he's still not as strong as her because there are multiple times where he gets overpowered by this monster fusion. But the fact that he can even put up a decent fight during this 10-second time period puts him on a different level entirely. Because within these 10 seconds, he can literally destroy anyone underneath him on this list, and maybe, just maybe debatably fight anyone else above him. But unfortunately, with 10 seconds and other factors such as speed, etc., I decided to put him right here. And let's say theoretically you survived Genos' 10 seconds and his ultimate attack, he's basically done. I personally think that's just not consistent enough, but if you think Genos is stronger, there's nothing wrong with that. Now up next, I chose Flashy Flash. To keep it simple, the fight between Flashy Flash, Garo, and Platinum S is just in a completely different tier that I think every other character below them would not be able to compete in. The speed of all three of these characters are in a completely different realm than everyone else below them. These guys were moving so fast, they created geometric formations of light when they clashed. And everyone who witnessed this fight, Genos and the other S classes included, had no way of knowing that these geometric lights were actually caused by three superhuman combatants, aka Garo, Flashy Flash, and Platinum S. These guys are so fast, they're fighting in under milliseconds. Even Platinum S asks if Flashy Flash is the highest level a single human can reach, meaning that Flashy Flash would be stronger than every single opponent that Platinum S has faced before. Flashy Flash might not have the best attack power or even the best offensive capabilities, but his speed is more than enough to make up for anything. He has decent damage, not the strongest, but his speed is in such a different level. Good luck ever catching him, because I guarantee you are never going to hit him. There is a reason why Flashy Flash and Saitama got sidelined during the Monster Association arc. They are just too strong. Up next, we have Tatsumaki, the strongest Esper in One Punch Man, and she is so strong she's never been pushed to her limits. In fact, for the most part, she holds back. While every single hero was in danger, almost about to die while they were fighting the cadres, Tatsumaki single-handedly grabbed every single one of them, no matter what location they were at, and saved them. She was so strong, she was able to contest Psychos Orochi while holding back. Without even trying, she could easily destroy the world. She grabbed the entire Monster Association and ripped it to the surface of the planet, creating cracks in the Earth's surface. To give you an idea on just how strong Tatsumaki is, one of the most iconic panels in One Punch Man was created by one of the strongest monsters in the series, Psychos Orochi, where she shot a laser and cut off a small fraction of the Earth. And you know what she did to this monster? Without even trying, she grabbed it and wrung it out like a rag and twisted some of the Earth while she did it. Nobody, and I mean absolutely no one, is on the level of doing that to such a powerful threat. And the craziest thing is, it gets even worse with our next rank, Blast. Not much is known about him, but he is easily the strongest of all the S-class heroes. On the topic of different leagues, different tiers, and different kinds of battles, Blast was the only character to fight and stand up a chance against both Saitama and Cosmic Garo. Other heroes on this list simply protect the Earth. Blast protects the dimension and protects the dimensional seal alongside of the high tiers of this series. One of them being Boros. There is a reason why Tatsumaki looks up to Blast. She's in a different league from the other heroes, and he's in a different league than her. He was literally boxing Cosmic Garo, who is at the same level as Saitama. If that doesn't say enough to you, I don't know what else to tell you. Up next, we have the strongest S-class hero out of everyone, and that would ultimately be King. There is not a single hero that doesn't respect King. And when you hear the sound of the King engine, by the time it hits your eardrums, you'll already be dead. Now that should complete our ranking of every single S-class hero in One Punch Man. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you like One Punch Man. Please consider donating to the Patreon so I can keep making amazing videos like this for you guys. Don't forget to watch some other videos. And with that, I'm out.